Good evening, parents, guardians, staff, and young men of St. Albans College. I had to introduce myself to one or two of you outside there, so just in case no one knows, my name is Mr. Jerry Knoll. I'm the Deputy Head of Academics at St. Albans. Yes, I'm that guy that sends you that information. But it's with great pleasure that I welcome you to our subject choice information evening. The purpose of tonight is to support you and your boys in feeling confident, inspired, and excited about moving towards what is referred to in our South African education system as the further education and training phase of their schooling. It was Mark Twain who famously remarked, "Find a job that you enjoy doing and you'll never have to work another day in your life." How's that going for everyone here? Typically, Mark Twain's candor in this quote closely illustrates how we believe one should go about considering subject choices. This is not to say that we are advocating not working hard, of course. That is going to happen regardless, but rather to emphasize that meaning, satisfaction, and therefore performance will come a lot easier when doing the things your sons enjoy and love. Before I get into logistics and specificities, I hope you won't mind indulging me as I regale a personal story about me and my brother, who in fact is pictured here on this slide. My intention of sharing the story with you is to highlight the non-linear and often messy pathway to finding one's careers. I mention the word careers pluralistically on purpose. Here is my brother, last year testing VR and AI technology to remotely instruct and train a medical robot to do surgery on a patient who has pancreatic cancer in Ecuador. We grew up in a mango farm in Limpopo province, just outside of Zanin. My earliest memory of what I wanted to do with my life was when I told my parents that I was going to become a farmer. And if I was not clever enough to be a farmer, well, then I'll just have to become a doctor. I retell the story in no way to have a quip about jobs in agriculture and farming. I know one must be incredibly smart to farm, but rather to highlight my naivety at the time. In our family growing up, relatively speaking, I was labeled the academic son, and my older brother was the sporty son. I also had better handwriting, of course, but that's not the point. I started out selecting school subjects that was with the sole purpose of fulfilling my career in studying medicine, but subsequently changed my ideas about myself and my future about 100 times since that point. You have probably heard the saying that is most misattributed to Albert Einstein, but that everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. If there ever was a title to the film of my brother's life, that was it. My brother grew up being told by friends, family, teachers that he wasn't that smart. He made it into Maritzburg College based on his sporting prowess and did well, playing first team in provincial sport in pretty much everything he did. It was the late 90s at the time. If he was at school today, he would have probably received every learning support strategy, accommodation or concession that there was to get. He was that fish being judged on how to climb a tree, and he was made to feel stupid by the conventional education system, which still has not been able to solve this fundamental flaw. He scraped a matric pass, got a degree at Stellenbosch University in what we refer to as a BA majoring in rugby. He failed every course that he was enrolled in for 2 years. At one point, my father went down to plead with the university not to kick him out. And my brother couldn't even direct my father to the whereabouts of the BA faculty. He was pardoned because he was incredibly valuable to the under 21 Western Province rugby squad, which is what he was playing at the time. This was his trajectory until he had a catastrophic back injury that almost saw him become a paraplegic. There was nothing more for my brother to do after recovering from his injury but to finish his BA, which he aptly did. He then went on to do his BA honours degree at the Sports Science Institute in Cape Town, where he was told how smart he was. Through this avenue, he went on to complete his MBCHB at UCT, and he became a professor of surgery and arguably one of the most qualified and proficiently skilled hepatopancreatico-bilio surgeons in South Africa. I did ask him if I could tell his story, and I'll tell him that he got a clap, so that's great. But at least I still have the good handwriting, right? We all can relate to how life is not linear and predictable. Our desire to make it so for us, and especially our children, only makes us less prepared for when those curveballs come our way. I urge you to embrace complexity, be comfortable, and support each other in navigating uncertainty, because these are the skills and modeling that will ultimately serve our boys well in a complex and uncertain future. Now onto some logistics and practicalities. You all have received communication via the app with all you need to know and more around our subject choice offering and processes. Effectively, all boys are choosing 3 elective subjects that they take in addition to their 4 compulsory subjects. We have 2 exciting announcements this year. The first is that after many years of discussion and deliberation, we are going to be offering EGD, or Engineering, Graphics and Design, phasing it in from Form 3 next year. We have leveraged our current staff skill set and our staffing capacity from within the computer sciences and innovation departments. EGD is a subject that effectively promotes itself. It is a technical and practical subject that boys in particular tend to enjoy. Interestingly, within the IB, double the number of boys enroll into EGD than girls, and many of them doing exceptionally well. EGD aligns excellently with university studies in fields such as engineering, architecture, industrial design, landscape architecture, and interior design. The curriculum is typically divided into 2 main sections, mechanical and civil, and incorporates theoretical, digital, and drawing components. Secondly, as you would have read in the recent communication, this year we are also launching a very exciting and innovative development in Term 3 for our Form 2s. The purpose of this initiative is to assist your boys in making their learning more meaningful in this term, as well as giving them more time and insight to make well-informed subject choices. How this will work is that after having read all the subject choice information with you, the parents, you will submit your son's selection for the transitional subject package. This is made up of the subjects that they are most likely going to take forward into Form 3, with an extra 2 subjects that they're still maybe unsure about whether they want to take or not. Essentially, this sees the overall subject load drop from 12 subjects, many of which are now simply redundant or tick box subjects for some boys, to 9 subjects. The deadline for making this transitional choice is the 8th of August after the holiday break. What happens then, in a very short space of time, is we will reallocate timetables for each boy based on their newly chosen transitional subject packages. Furthermore, they will go on to write their end-of-year exams on those reduced number of transitional subjects that they selected. Their final subject choice deadline for their Form 3 year will then be the 13th of October, and textbooks coincides with the textbooks that will be ordered across the school. Sorry, I think I just got that date wrong. The transitional subject deadline is the 3rd of September, not the 8th of August. So that's after the holidays. The purpose for this is for our boys to be exposed to the subjects they are interested in, pursuing at a deeper but still Form 2 level. They will have more time with fewer subjects, allowing them to get a sense of what the subject is about, as well as the skills and attributes that make for a successful learner in that subject. Another reason for doing this is also to engender an authentic love for learning. And so this will give us opportunities for real-world interdisciplinary collaboration and skills development. One of the exciting initiatives we are looking to introduce in a few free periods, and I say free, there will be something that the boys will be doing in this period, is that of biomimicry. For those of you who don't know, biomimicry is an innovative approach to problem solving that seeks sustainable solutions by emulating nature's time-tested patterns and strategies. Essentially, it's about learning from mimicking the ideas and processes found in the natural world. It has transdisciplinary applications across every subject field, and we're excited to introduce this concept starting this year even if it will be only in a very small but impactful way. An important caveat to mention at this point is that even though we have done a successful timetable mock run of this scaffolded subject initiative, which we based on 3 years of previous subject choice data, we can and must expect a few teething issues, especially when it comes to generating and fitting in each boy's transitional subjects into a new timetable within a very tight deadline. We ran our test runs earlier this term. The timetable, for example, could not package itself if it had to allocate only one specific teacher for each class. But this actually turned out fortuitous for us in many ways, because our original intention was to have, where possible, multiple teachers of a particular subject, bringing their approach to that subject and exposing boys to co-facilitation and sometimes team teaching, a powerful teaching and learning strategy that is used very frequently in tertiary level. We ask for your patience and understanding should there be a few hiccups along the way while we learn, unlearn, and relearn to better our offering for our boys. Ultimately, we guarantee that there is nothing to lose from implementing this innovative initiative, which some schools have done so with much success. The last two practicalities from me are around taking an 8th subject to matric and subject changes. Taking an 8th, 9th, or 10th subject is a wonderful way for our top academics to extend themselves. However, it is not there for boys who are battling in their subjects to take an extra subject as a type of safety net. What ultimately happens in these cases, following the lines of cognitive load theory, is that their other subjects and subsequently their overall marks will see the knock and ultimately will close their opportunities after school. Although not always recommended, subject changes may happen after choices are made for a variety of reasons. These changes can happen as late as mid-year of a Form 4 year, which is generally when matric work begins for some subjects. The later the change, the more difficult and pressurized it becomes to catch up, especially if they are accumulated scaffolded subjects such as accounting and physics. We encourage you to try and settle on your subject choices as early as possible. Apply yourself and give of your best. If your subject change is necessary, it should be on the recommendation of our head of departments or learning support department, who are professionally equipped and experienced to discern proficiency and aptitudes towards various disciplines. We have specific deadlines at the start of each term and checks and balances that need to be covered before a subject change can be made, which mitigates boys at their own detriment, changing subjects too freely without demonstrating some level of resilience and stickability. Boys, even subjects you thought you were going to love are going to get tough at times. Interrogate yourself if you're purely chasing the marks or genuinely feeling misaligned with what you need to thrive when looking at your subject choices. All the details, the Google form link and documentation for subject changes can be found in the app. So if this does apply to you, that's where you may go. Finally, I'm going to leave you with some thoughts from a former colleague of mine who's a seasoned educator and expert in the field of boy well-being, university applications, and subject counselling. Mr. Tim Jarvis, the counsellor at Mari Laas in KwaZulu-Natal. Number one, instead of working backwards from an unknown future, boys should rather work forwards based on what they know now at this point of time in their lives. Secondly, what do universities say about subject choice? Dr. Laas will speak more about this later, but the answer is not that much. Apart from a few niche degrees that require mainly a maths and physical science subject combination, music matters as much as maths, and music matters as much as accounting, and drama is as essential as life sciences. School subjects are not about training or preparing you for a specific workplace. They are about education and a skill development more broadly. As Mark Twain also stated, I have never let my schooling interfere with my education. Number 4, we should not pursue this idea that schools preparing our children to become mere fodder for the economy. As Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go and do it. Because what the world needs is for people to come alive. Number 5, your boy only has 3 subjects to choose from, so let them make their choice. Of course, and Dr. Laas will explain this, you as the parents will need to support them and guide them on this. But don't leave it entirely to them, but let them lead the discussion. Number 6, it is a subject choice and not a career choice. I hope my anecdotal story at the beginning of this talk illustrates that point. Number 7, it is not a big deal as we often make it out to be. Apart from adding some light dinner or bright topic conversations, when you unpack subject choices carefully, they have very little major implications, and it was designed this way. So please don't hype the anxiety around them. It matters surprising very little, and anyway, this is just the starting point of a lifelong process. And lastly, do what you enjoy and what you're good at. To finally quote Eric Liddell from Chariots of Fire, cue the evangelist's theme song, please. I believe God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. Let our boys run authentically according to their God-given talents and strengths. They'll go faster and further if we allow them to. What is more is that they will find enjoyment and pleasure along the way. Thank you very much. If you'd like to read more about that article in Tim Jarvis's 8, I think he's got 8 on 10 points about subject choices for parents, you can scan this QR code and you can read the full article there. We will send this out as well. I'm now going to hand over to Dr. Mari Laas from Career Counsel, and then we'll have a short discussion. We'll have a bit of a Q&A session and a short discussion from our maths and maths literacy heads before you head over to the LEC for a subject choice marketplace, where you and your son can informally move around and discuss specific subjects and see what they entail. Dr. Mari Laas holds a master's degree in functional therapy and a doctorate in education. She is married to a Dutch Reformed dominee and is a mother of 2. She has been working in career counseling for the past 23 years and has a practice based in Gaasfontein. Thank you so much for joining us, Mari. We look forward to hearing what you have to say. Without further ado, Dr. Mari Laas.
Thank you. I'm born before technology. Okay, there you go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for having me just for a few minutes to just discuss a few things that I see so often happening in my practice. Okay, what is this all about? I think you're not new to the effect that usually subject matters in grade 9 becomes a headache if we make it one. So why do we choose subjects? Exactly as he said. Can I quickly run over to the board and just explain why we are doing this? I hope you can hear me.
We'll need sorry.
Thank you so much. Okay, 1994, a lot of things happened. Also in education. So what happened then is a whole new system started to actually catch the lost generation, as we speak of them. Okay, so what happened then was, up to then, most of us actually were part of the old system, where you could leave school in the old graad 10. You could actually leave school and become a nurse, or you could become a fireman, or you could become whatever you wanted, but you didn't have to finish grade 12 or matric. So what happened to those people is that they believed that it would be okay in the future, so they left school. Then life happened, and they found themselves against the ceiling. I saw a lot of those as my colleagues previously, that they left and then they couldn't get promoted because of the fact that they didn't have the right qualifications. So this is what happened. We started school in grade 1, grade 2. Well, it also depended on which province you were in. Otherwise, it was sub A, sub B, right? Grade 1, grade 2, standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here you could have left school. 9 and 10. But the problem was, if you left school, there were no way that you could actually get back into the school system. They wouldn't allow you. So in 1994, it happened that they said, no, we also have a problem with early childhood development. So therefore, we started grade 0 or grade RR. I remember my own daughter telling me how bad and how rude I was to make her go to school 14 years. But anyway, grade 0. Then we do grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that is called GED. And those of you who are also informed on this, you know that they're now working on a grade 9 certificate. That you could leave school, don't get ideas. Grade 9. Okay, 10, 11, 12 is called FET. And that's exactly where we are at now. That it's a new school phase, and therefore you choose subjects so that you get prepared for higher education and training. Okay, so that's why we choose subjects in grade 9. But there's a whole new system parallel to this that they call skills development, which is a whole new system where these people can now go back to school to speak. So you can do grade 9, which is level 1 on the National Qualification Framework of South Africa. 10 is 2, 11 is 3, 12 is 4. So why am I explaining this to you? So that you know if your child has got a specific, and not against St. Albans, but if your child has got something specific that they want to ally into, they can do this with the FET College and do these with skills programs. Therefore, if you left school or you just finished there and you never studied, you can also go back while you're working and follow the skills development facilitation program, where you could do a lot of small courses with credits and actually get a certificate or a diploma or a degree. So it's very easy, if you allied wrongly, that you could still correct it in a way. So I hope that helps. That's how the CETAs, which is in the news at the moment, very much so, the CETAs started. That you could have allied into a specific path, and then you wanted to change, or you wanted to add on. And that is why skills development is also there, for you to understand whatever you choose here is never in cement. You could always change or add on. And this is the reason why we do grade 9 subject choices. Okay. So, to start the whole process, that is exactly why we choose. Oh, am I off now? Am I on? Thank you. Okay, so that is exactly why we choose subjects now, so that we could ally into a specific area of interest. And you will find it on the slide, knowing that it could be social sciences, it could be specific sciences, it could be a lot. And if you look at something just like sciences, we have 5. Nowadays, they add another one, 6th one. So it's physics, chemistry, biology, geography, math, and data science. So it's not only what we used to know as biology and physical science. There are a lot of sciences that we could talk about. And I see it very often that in my assessments, I would see that the child is actually very into sciences. And then I have to look deeper. And very often it's math. It's not necessarily physical science. Okay. There you go. So, the difference that it makes when you choose your subjects in grade for grade 10, 11, and 12, is that you have to go into more detail to say, okay, what would the alley be that I'm going to look into? So say, for instance, it's engineering. Then you have to go and look at different universities, also colleges, private institutions. What are their requirements? And very often, I find parents walking in at my practice and saying, yeah, but my boy doesn't want to go to a state university. They want to go private, and I know that so-and-so private institution also offers engineering. Guys, make sure, what is engineering and what is engineering tech? There's a huge difference. And that's exactly why I'm mentioning this, so that you and your boys would sit around the table and discuss, to look into more detail on NQF levels and credits, and look at the outcome, and also know what the career could lead to. There's nothing wrong with becoming engineering tech, but you must make sure that you will not be able to write the engineering board exam. So there are different ways that you have to look at this, and this is a journey. It's a very interesting journey that you have to take together with your son. You as a parent needs to get informed on how are you going to guide this boy. And if you don't have the info, there's something magnificent that they discovered. It's called Google. Okay, so make sure that you know what is going on. So exactly what the previous speaker said, it's guidance and support and not making the decision on behalf of your son. Please listen to them. See this as a wonderful opportunity to hear his heart, to hear his mind. Ask them to come and tell you what they really thought and what did they look at. You'll be surprised to know how informed these kids are. The first question that I usually get is, yes, but is AI going to replace my child? Make sure that you also look at trends of different careers so that you as a parent are informed to say, I know that people say that all accountants are going to become redundant. Good luck. All doctors, where's my previous speaker? All doctors are going to become redundant because it's going to be taken over by robots. I don't know if you want to fly in an aeroplane without a pilot. So make sure that you are quite informed on what we are talking about. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are preparing our boys for careers that doesn't exist yet. So we also have to go and look at trends and new inventions, so that we make sure that we know whatever we advise our son to do, he would have a career in 30, 40 years. Okay. So, how do I determine this? The most obvious way is to ask your son himself. My first question is usually, if you had to submit your subject matter form today, what would be a definite no ways? Even if I sing you hallelujah, you're not going to take it. What is the first one? History. Sorry, history teacher. And I think it's sad. The second one? Geography. And which is really bad. Geography has got the most incredible career possibilities. Name one. GIS specialists. Don't you want to play with drones? It's geo and science. Okay, the following should be considered, of course. Individual differences. How often do I hear, yeah, my first child took this and it actually went well. Or no, we're not going to take that again because it was a big boo-boo with my first child. Guys, no. No. The one can do EEGD, the other one can't. The one can do physics, the other one can't. The one becomes an academic and the other one a rugby player. Okay. Your ability, is a report card the only measurement? Or can you only rely on marks from school? I don't think so. Sometimes people really do bad at school, and all of a sudden it just became, it's like a click that happens at varsity. Okay, so what is the reason for you taking certain subjects at school? I usually explain it to parents that we are building brain cells. That's exactly what you're doing. In grade 10, 11, and 12, you're making little paths in your brain. So the minute you take a certain subject, you have a certain path that's been built. That's why, guys, you're sitting here waiting to start your engineering career. What is the subject that's non-negotiable? What math? Sorry? AP math. AP or add maths or alpha. Please. You can't go into engineering without that. Who are the actuary amongst us? Come on, where's the actuary? What is non-negotiable? Add maths. Please, guys, we have to take calculus. You have to have those brain paths. Okay. Aptitude. That is the potential of somebody that is trainable. Very often, parents ask me, the fact that I like car engines, is that an indication why my child thinks that's what he must do, or become a plumber or an electrician or whatever, because I do it? No, my dear parent, the one child will go and look at what dad is doing. He'll be in oil up to his elbows. The other one would lie in his room playing games. It's got nothing to do with what you do and what your child is exposed to. It's either aptitude or it's not. Why can some people sing? You can't teach someone to sing. Why can some people draw? Why can some people see photographs in a total other manner with shadows and stuff and others just can't? Why can some people see 3D? Okay, it's not a brain thing. I promise it's not a brain thing. I asked my optometrist, he said it's an eye thing. It's not because I can't see 3D, but I really can't see 3D. Okay, so it's an aptitude. Interest. Some people are interested in computers and others are not. Some people are interested in art and others are not. Some people are interested in sport and others are not. So it's very important not to look linear at your child. Please consider aptitude as well as interest, as well as exposure that the child had up to now, before you make a decision to say, no, you're not good at that. Maybe hasn't been exposed. So please look 360 before you make a choice. Okay. TPT scores, APS scores, as you know it. So what is important? Before we choose subjects, go and make sure at varsities, what are the requirements, the entry requirements? Those usually entail subjects that must be submitted, as well as an APS score. Also, please look at different varsities. They calculate it differently. This is just generic, that you choose your 6 subjects. You take 7, LO, you have to pass, doesn't count, but you have to pass it. And then the 6 subjects into syllabus, symbols, and then you add. So if you have all your subjects distinctions, it's a 7 times 6, right? So the top is 42 that you could actually have, 42. UCT counts it different. NMMU counts it different. Roads counts it different. Your private institutions, some of them also count it different. So please look at what the institution that you are considering ask. Okay. Pass requirements, scary, ne? 40 or higher, and 1 home language. If there's any boys here tonight that grew up in another country, up to grade 4 or 5, is there any people that grew up in another country? No? Okay, where? So do you take both languages? Do you take Afrikaans?
You lucky fish. What do you take? Aha, okay. Now, I just wanted to make sure that the school, of course, is St. Albans informed. I have a lot of schools that don't know this, and they put international students through hell with Afrikaans. They don't have to take it. If you grew up in another country up to grade 6, 7, you don't need to take it. Okay. 3 subjects, 30% or higher. Guys, this is scary. 70% that you don't know anything of. Imagine you've got a dentist. Ladies or a gynae, pass with 30. Okay. So, also, what the universities, or most of them, require, 15 core subjects. But it's also dictated by the faculty. So if the faculty says English, maths, and science, those are already 3 of the 4. Okay. So why do schools allow people to do 10 subjects? You know all who I'm talking about. 10 subjects. Because they can. It doesn't impress me at all. It says that you couldn't make up your mind. So if you want to take German and French and history and geo, and don't moan. And please get a life. So make up your mind, decide, max 8. Max 8. And if 8 entails AP maths, good for you, you've got 7. And AP. We're not going to do 9. Okay. So, how can I assist my child? It's time to think. It's time to discuss. Guys, don't fight. Please, don't say after one conversation, now, go your own way and don't think you're going to come to my company. Please don't do that. Enjoy the journey. Think and talk and talk and think. We've got a few weeks that you could, not every discussion, please. You're going to get a closed door and earphones. Think when it is necessary to discuss this and make it an enjoyable journey. Ask your child, what have you been thinking? You haven't mentioned anything. Or, you remember when you were like 2 or 3, you decided that you're going to become a F1 driver. Are we still there? Or you said that you're going to fix daddy's ears. I supported you then. Now we have to think, is it really audiology? Do you think you want to become a ENT, or what are you thinking at the moment? And make it a journey. Then start supporting your child by sending them stuff. You know, they actually use their cell phones. If you don't mean, they use their cell phones. Start sending them YouTube videos. And say, have you seen this? This is so interesting. Look at this. Look at that. You mentioned this. And make it a journey that you can enjoy, also by informing or getting informed yourself. Challenge yourself by asking questions. So, what do you know about AI? You said you want to become a software engineer. What do you know about software engineering? Oh, yeah, and there's another word that I wanted to mention. I heard that people call themselves intelligence network support agents. Huh? Looks great on a CV. So what do an intelligence support network agent do? Hello? Networks, computers. And these kids are informed. They're really informed. You get informed and we have nice discussions around the table. Please see where you could get your son involved to shadow. Or if you have a friend or friends that do a certain career that the kids are interested in, invite them for a braai and say, would you mind if my son just asks you a few questions? What do you do? What does a day in your life look like? What do you earn? I'll go and top up the beer, then he can ask you what you earn. For these kids, it's important. You know, it's sad, but our children, they don't know how to battle. We made them privileged. So, history has it that their children is going to turn the curve again. So they won't necessarily battle, but their children might, or their children's children might. So that's why we raise them they don't know how to battle. You know, and a school like St. Albans, and bless your soul, I don't think there's anybody that sits next to your child that went to bed hungry last night. Our kids doesn't know that. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know what it means to really count the cents at the end of the month just to buy something for the next month. And it's not bad, it's wonderful. But our kids grow up that way. And we have to show them the world to say, you know, there are people that's not that privileged. How would you be able to help, not only for yourself, but also to create work in this country? I still believe in South Africa. I believe that we could turn it and that we could create. And it's you guys with the intelligence that's got to make it happen. Okay. Dear St. Alban learner, you have to know yourself. You have to go and sit and think, what makes you happy? What would tick your boxes? What would make you look forward to a day at work? What would challenge you enough? Know yourself, know what you don't want to do. And most of the kids know that. They walk into my practice and they say, ma'am, just please, I don't want to sit in an office all day. I don't want to wear a tie. I want to work remote. I want to dictate my hours. I want to have freedom of lifestyle. It's important for me. Oh, yeah, and so by the way, I want to earn a lot of money. Okay. Okay, people change. Do your aptitude change? Does it ever change? No, it doesn't. If we had the ability to test you in your cradle, you'll have aptitude. I hate it when people walk in at my office and say, oh, yeah, I had my son tested and he's actually very brilliant. The previous guy said he could actually become anything. No, become anything. I don't know what it is, but become anything. It's not true. You have an aptitude. There's a definite aptitude. And you might have 2 or maybe 3. But, I mean, if you want to become anything, then go and do what you want. Become a grasshopper. It's silly. There is no such thing as you could become anything. Be in charge of your own future, make your decisions, discuss it with your parents. I know sometimes we think you are crazy, but ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, there are little millionaires sitting in coffee shops every day. They make passive money. Go and ask them how. And of course it's this. The YouTube influencers, they become millionaires. Okay? Also the inventors. Sometimes you think it's crazy. But if you go and look at product development at this stage, how huge product development is, don't overlook your boy with his crazy ideas. It's never too late to make a change. Also, young man, to your marks. It's never too late to change your report. I saw that. Make a decision. Say, everything is on my horizon at the moment. I can make the choice. And you'll be surprised if you start studying what can happen. I had a boy in my office the other day. He was nearly failing grade 11. I wanted to kick his ass because now it's grade 11. We have to use the grade 11 marks to apply. You know when he woke up? Grade 12. He's got brilliant marks. It's going to cost him a year. He can't apply for what he wanted to because he woke up in grade 12. Do you hear me? Okay. How do we decide about university, college, FET college, technical colleges, and so on. How do we make that decision? Again, ladies and gentlemen, I emphasize, please go and look at the different courses, their credits, their levels. Don't say, oh, is this recognized overseas? Everything that's got a SAQA number and a level is recognized overseas. It's international. Okay, but make sure that the course that you're enrolling for is leading to what you were planning. And there are paths, there are also loopholes that I could show you if you're interested. And say, for instance, you started on the wrong path. How could we get you back? We can get you back to where you wanted to be. Maybe you took a detour. Maybe some of your older children took a detour. We can still make a plan. Okay. So it's never too late to decide where you want to start. Okay. Now, this might sound crazy. But if your child is still uncertain by grade 11, grade 12, why don't you enroll them only for a higher certificate first? I suggest that, absolutely. If you only want to take a route first and see on a level 5, before you enroll for a BCom accounting, go and do a higher certificate first and see if it's for you. Before you waste your time and your money, it counts anyway in your CV. You've done an accounting certificate. But then you will know to say, you know what actually triggered me was the economics. I wanted to go into economics rather than accounting, which is a good route. So make sure, if you are still uncertain, just to start with maybe a certificate or a diploma first. At the moment, I think we are on 42% of people that studied something and is not doing the career anymore. Come on, be honest. Who studied something and is not doing it anymore? Come on. Yeah. But does that say you made a wrong choice? No, ma'am. No, sir. What you encountered fundamentally while you were studying is a wonderful stepping stone. And your aptitude will do the rest. So say, for instance, you studied something, but you're actually really good with people. And you enter the work of employment, you're going to steer naturally into that direction, that you will show certain skills or aptitudes that will make you follow a career path with your basics. Okay, so what about a gap year? Fundamentally, I don't have anything against a gap year, but you're not going to lie on the bench and play games. The gap year must have a reason. The gap year must have a goal. So if you want to encounter certain things, you want to go and pick apples in the Cape, and you want to experience farming, go and do it. Earn your money, but come with a plan. To say, okay, I'm going to do this for a year. You know, for the girls, it's easy. They go on a gap year and they become an au pair. Many tears, let me tell you that. All people are not, what does Animal Farm say? All people are equal. Some people are more equal than others. So they experience that, specifically going to another country and experiencing that South Africa is actually really the land of milk and honey. So we see a lot of these girls going overseas, and after the first 3 months, they cry crocodile trane. They want to come back. Also, the people that go over with a bursary for sport. I see a lot of them in my office, very often. After 3 months, they cry crocodile trane. Do you know snow in Canada? We don't know that. So, yeah. Please don't change everything simultaneously. Don't change education system, weather, humor, away from your parents, language, culture. It's too much. Don't do that. Please, baby steps. If you want to go overseas, and if you have the opportunity to go, go. But first think of doing a degree and becoming a seasoned student first. Then you go. Go and do your after postgrads wherever you want. South Africa's education system is not bad. Let me tell you, we've got the best doctors in the world. We've got the best dentists. We've got the best engineers. So please go and do your degree at a local university first, and then please spread your wings. Come back and let us know that you've made it out there. We want to be proud of you as well. Okay. Go into a place of work immediately. There are lots of opportunities where you could do a degree and work simultaneously. Hard. There's a lot of the guys that's sitting here, you see all the gray hair, it's because of that. We all did it in some or another way, even post-grads, that you were working and you studied. If people ask me, when did I do my doctorate, I said between 2 and 4 in the morning. And it's literally the truth. So the other day, you know, we have a thing in our house, if you want to fight, we go for tea. We go to a restaurant and we behave. Nobody is allowed to scream and nobody is allowed to get up and walk out. So we go for tea. So our friends usually know when they see you and me in a restaurant, they're like, oh, are you fighting? No, not really. But the other day I said to him, you know what, I've got this urge. I really want to do another doctorate. I want to do it on something that I come across very often. And he looked at me with a smile and he said, okay, when? I said, no, like next year or so. I said, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking when. When are you going to do that? Now, guys, it's quite possible nobody died of study. So you can, if you want to, start working, specifically in finance, which is not a bad idea. So you get skilled and you get academic information. So not a bad idea. It makes you grow up very quickly. If you want to be a little bit a student and you want to sit on the grass and eat a pie and meet a new girl, that's not the way to go. But if you want to start working, earn money, pay your way, and study, you have more time than 3 years. So say, for instance, you do a part-time degree while you're working, you have 5 to 7 years to finish your degree. But then you are also skilled and you've got a CV. So not a bad idea, consider. Internships. Internships is, for me, a better thing to do after you studied than starting with the internship. To go and study first and then do a year internship. Get a roundabout in a factory or in a workplace and get exposed to certain jobs and positions and then make up your mind what you would like to do. So there are ample opportunities for internships. If you want to go and peep on the websites, internships essay. I think I counted last year 298 internships possibilities. Do you want to take time out? You must come with an idea. So there are ample opportunities. Say, for instance, you want to go into animals or conservation or military even. That you could take a year, go on one of these camps, warrior camps or leadership camps or whatever. Go and do it for a year and find yourself. Make sure what you want to do. It gives you that leeway of a year. The dad sitting here and saying, not my boy, he's going to study and get his ass off the bench. You had army, right? You had 2 years opportunity to grow up. Then made up your mind, and you made a success because you were older. Our boys don't have that opportunity necessarily. So if you are in the position to grant them that, to say, okay, fine, you can do a year, get sport out of your system, play rugby, tennis, hockey, rowing, whatever you want to do for a year, and then it's done. We do not go to Stellenbosch or UCT to play rugby. Right? I get that very often. Ma'am, will I be able to play rugby? No. Why are you going? If you're going to study anything that obtains half your time in a day, there's no time for rugby, really, or soccer, or whatever you want to do. And I'm not bad in that sense, but I know you can't juggle both balls. So, get it out of your system and then go and study. It is your teen's life. Allow them to voice their concerns, their opinions, come with a proposal, give you a budget. Very important that you ask them, what is this going to cost me? They must do their homework to say, this is what it's going to cost you, Dad. And most of us say, okay, if you fail, you're going to pay yourself. Ha ha. But we say that. Okay? So you're not going to waste my money. Guys, who of you passed, let me ask, where's the bright boys? Who of you passed all the subjects every year? Now, I'm not asking the boys, I'm asking the parents. Okay. One or another time we all had a hair. That one that you didn't tell your parents about, no? Okay. Don't be afraid to set the limits for the boys, to say, guys, this is what I can afford. Although you can afford more. This is what I'm going to afford for a year or 3. Remember, you want a car, you want to stay, you want to study, you want to drink. And so this is what it's going to cost me. Let's discuss. How are you going to make it worthwhile for return on investment when we send you away for 3 years? Your choice to go to Cape Town or whatever. Have you seen the weather? Okay, where to get help? Internet, absolutely. Local library, if they're still alive. But there are also lots of magazines available with career options and stuff to browse through if you go really the extra mile and go and find them. Lots of the magazines are available. If you don't have them, contact me, I'll give you mine. Associations, specifically if you really go the extra mile to look at associations that's associated with the career that you're looking for. In every single career, you've got 4 or 5 or 6 associations that actually support these boys to look at extra information. Attend meetings or ask people. I promise you, your friends will be more than willing to tell the boy what is the bad and what is the pros and cons of a certain career. You would make me think, we've got a friend, he's a medical doctor. He's an orthopedic surgeon. So when I asked him, why did you decide to become one? He said, because my grade 1 teacher said, you write so ugly, you're going to become a doctor. And that stuck in his mind. So when he was transferred to another teacher, grade 2, this grade 1 teacher walked in. She looked at him and she said to her colleague, that boy is going to become a medical doctor. He writes like you can't believe. No, there's nie salf van hom te smeer nie. Nobody's going to rescue him. So he became a medical doctor. And nowadays, if you say to him, so are you still happy? He says, yeah, but it's not such a big deal. I put in screws. I'm actually a mechanic. The guys that's really clever, they work with the nerves. They are smart. I use a saw, cut off legs and stuff and put in screws. Not that important. So you see, that actually, it stays with what you say from this small. To say, but you're bright. You have a certain skill that others don't have. You can see stuff that others can't see. You know what? The more positive input we put in our boys, the better they become to believe that they can. Your brother, in postgrad only, knew that he was actually clever. So why do we do this? Why do we say, so often parents sit in front of me and say, nee man, you can't do that. My own son, in grade 9, we did subject choices, and he was actually science and accounting on the same level. So we decided to take 8 subjects. Okay. So this mother usually asked in the afternoon, so did you have class this afternoon? No, Mom. Meneer was on the cricket bus. Okay, next day, did you have class? No, Mom. Meneer was on the rugby bus. So I nearly fainted. In June of grade 10, I just had it. And I said to him, now you come and sit here and you tell me what you want to do. So we decided that we're going to do accounting. We're good at accounting. Okay, so we decided accounting. Vrachtig, grade 12. My son walks in and says, Mom, don't you think I should become a medical doctor? So I said to him, if that's what you want to do, it's going to cost you a year, and we're going to do science, because we dropped the science then. He said to me, yeah, but you know what? I don't want to be a carer. I don't want to be a doctor. I would become an anesthesiologist. Dan slaap die goed mos. I said, please, if you become a doctor, just tell me where do you practice so that I can avoid you. Die goed is patience, okay? Okay, it is your teen's life. Listen to them, talk to them, ask them their opinion, discuss the marks. If you come home with a 60 in science and you want to become a medical doctor, you know that you have to do alley up like 90, okay? Final thoughts? Please take time. These are one of the things that you're going to enjoy for the rest of your life. To discuss it when your children has children, to say, yeah, let me tell you what we did with your dad when he was in grade 9. It is a journey. Enjoy it. The aptitude tests, I don't know how you did it at school. You wrote tests. If you're happy with the results, fine. Otherwise, you know where to find me. I will gladly walk the walk and talk the talk with you. Just make sure that you are convinced that you and your child knows exactly what they're going to do, why they're going to choose certain subjects. We're not choosing a career in grade 9, but it is important that you keep the doors open. There must be a reason why you're going to take science and accounting. And please, don't come with this nonsense to say, sure, but accounting and biology and physics and AP Maths, don't you think that's a bit much? Excuse me? Work is not becoming lesser. So the quicker they respond to time management and know that they still want to do the rowing and they still want to play the hockey, but we also have to do academics, the better. That's how life works, isn't it? So don't say the load is too heavy. Get used to it. It's not going to change. Okay, you see, ek is kwaai. Because if you want to reach a certain level in your academics and you want to become what you want, your dream, you're going to work for it. It's like the lotto. What are your chances? Go for it. It's a possibility. Sê die dominee se vrou. I think that's it. That's me. There's a booklet in your hand that gives you most of the information that I shared with you, the APS scores, what to do, how can we assist, Q&As, and the other thing is also, is there any chance that your child's aptitude or interest is going to change in the next 3 years? Nope. You have a certain aptitude or interest. You can sing or you can't. That's it. You can play a guitar or you can't. Yeah, we can try and teach you, but you will never be Mr. Musician. It comes naturally. Aptitude is naturally. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Laas. We have a little bit, it's fine. We've got a couple of minutes for some questions from the audience. I don't know if we want to, anyone's got a question for Dr. Laas while she's here, and then we'll hear quickly from our maths head of subject and maths literacy, HOD. Any questions? Yes. Have we got a mic? There we go. Thanks, Candice.
Thank you. It was very informative and fun. Just a question, I guess, I'm battling with is there's a slide that shows, the APTs for varsities. And if you look at this year, the number of kids that have bachelor admission, and most of them with 60s and 70s were not able to get into the first or second or even third universities.
True.
How do you think, when you say, look at data, look at where it's going, how do you think that's going to play out when these kids are in grade 12 And what should you be thinking now differently? Because these marks on papers on the websites, they're saying if you get 6 A's, you're going to get to Stellenbosch, to your whatever. That is slowly not becoming a reality. So, I mean, how would you deal with that in a conversation with a 14, 15-year-old?
There's a small word in that whole information sheet. Minimum requirements. And that's what I usually spell out. The fact that you make the minimum requirement doesn't say you're selected. So, of course, you must understand that a university is a business. Specifically the state universities, where they get a lump sum from the government. Okay, so we talk about two words, enrollment and throughput rate. So the minute the child the learner, the student enrolls, they get money. So of course they're going to choose the child that they think is going to throughput, because then they get a moersebedrag. So it's a business. It's return on investment. So why would they choose somebody that's borderline? Not that the top student is necessarily going to throughput, but the chances are bigger. So therefore, you need to understand that the minimum requirements doesn't give you entry. I remember last year I spoke to a friend of mine at UJ, and the minimum requirement for B accounting was 34. I think they stopped enrolling at 38. They had enough students. Please, guys, remember, when my own child was in grade 11, we had the same evening, and there was a guy from UP that was standing there with his blazer, and he said, guys, don't think we're waiting for your little boys. And I thought, damn, you can be glad that you're going to get my son. He's brilliant. Shame. I walked out and thought, yes, Marie, grow up. It's the truth. They're not waiting for him. They've got enough people. More than enough, which is sad. Because at the moment, I actually saw numbers this week that, say for instance, I can't remember now, say 400,000 students finish matric with entry requirements for university. There's place in South Africa for 225. So half of the students don't have a place to study. That's state universities. Let me correct myself. There are ample privates that's waiting for you. So don't overlook those. You do exactly the same degree, just at a private institution. Okay.
So thank you. I think just to answer your second part of that question is that there are multiple other alternatives than a simple state university pathway. So, and I think Dr. Laas did spell out some of them. So private institutions, other skills-based colleges, or taking an alternative path. So online business schools, loads of other ways of getting accredited and qualified without going to Stellenbosch, UP, UJ. Okay. We can do one more question, and then we'll have 5 minutes. One more question. I've actually just want to clarify something. You kept on talking about AdMaths. Dr. Laas, they changed it to, you're referring to further studies maths, FS maths.
Some schools have AD, some have AP, some have Alpha, some have...
No, we don't. I think they changed in the IB, we only have, it's the further studies. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just wanted to clarify for our audience.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Dr. Laas, before you go, just a small token of our appreciation. Thank you so much. You did that in such a relatable way. We're really privileged to have you and to share your expertise with us. Thank you so much. All right. Just want to welcome Mr. Smith, the Head of Department of Maths, and Amy Phillips to just quickly talk through maths and maths literacy. It's often a question, and we want to frame this properly for you to make the informed decision now, because at least a third or 30-odd students will be taking one maths literacy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is, I think, going to be shorter than you thought, because every 5 minutes I'm going to cough. So if I reach into my pocket and devour Mrs. Ward's packet of Fisherman's Friends, you know what I'm munching on. Like that. Okay, so just a couple of things with maths, and ma'am, Phillips is going to talk about maths a little more, because I think that's the thing that's the dark horse in the room. It's not really, people don't really know what it's about. And she's very clued up on that. I think the main thing I want to say is that the jump from Form 2 to Form 3 maths, difficulty level, quantity of work we get through, and speed is immense. And the biggest problem that Form 2s experience in Form 3 in maths is that they keep the effort level like this to attain these marks in the next year. If you keep your effort level like this, you're going to attain these marks. And the other thing I need to say about maths is, especially in Form 3, 4, and 5, is what you don't know today, you need to sort out by tomorrow, because we move on. Because we've got to finish the syllabus. It's unfortunately, that's the way it is. And anything you don't understand and you don't talk up about immediately, seek help immediately with the support lessons or with your teachers, you're going to be left behind. And that building stone that we did yesterday is not there for today when we carry on with the lesson. And a good example is the Form 4 just wrote a trigonometry test. All their trig theory, most of them got 100% for. Their Form 1 and 2 and 3 factorization that they needed and solving equations, they couldn't do anymore. And they lost marks there. So their 100% in the theory became a 50% in the test. And that's not for any other reason that we don't reteach the factorization. That's done. And that stone needs to have been cemented and laid in before we move on. So the opportunities are there for your son to keep up with his maths. 20 minutes a day, every day, whether there's homework or not, is the way to do it. And you ask any boy at the school who's successful, whatever you want to define that is, at maths, and they'll say they work every day at maths, all the time. The other thing I want to say about further studies maths is that the successful boys at a busy school like this, who are eventually successful at further studies maths, not so much mark-wise, but with the amount of work they have to do, are those who are passionate about maths. If it's not their hobby, if they don't wake up at 3 in the morning dreaming about maths theorems, they're going to have to work very hard to do the equivalent level of success at further studies maths as they do in maths. Now, we've normally got a cohort of about 26 that start in Form 3, and the way we're teaching it at the moment with the same teacher following them through, we've been successful with probably 65% of the ones who start in Form 3 right at the end of the year in matric. And that's pretty much a normal, I don't want to call it a dropout rate. I decided, took on too much on my plate rate. So it is possible, but, and again, it's a lot of extra work because we only got 2 periods in the timetable as opposed to 8 for all the other subjects. The decision to carry on in Form 3 is a really critical one. And it is marks-based to a certain extent. Because to pass grade 9, you have to pass maths with 40%. Otherwise, it's a fail. And then to be condoned to maths, in other words, to condone to the next year, we're going to strongly request that that person takes maths lit. It's a conversation that you'll have with Mr. Noel and I. And the last thing I want to say, and I'm going to take questions outside there because I know I'm not covering everything, is that maths lit is fun. They go shopping. They've been shopping 3 times this term already to Menlyn. And I'm thinking next year I want to teach a Form 3 maths lit class, because I've got an idea of them organizing a Mediterranean cruise. They can do all the background work as part of maths lit, and then we'll go and enjoy the history part of it. We might invite the non-scientific subject history to come with us. But that's tongue-in-cheek, but maths lit's a different entity. And I think what our age group needs to get out of our heads is you're not dropping maths to take maths lit. You are changing subject from maths to maths literacy, like you're changing subject from geography to history, or from physical science to life science. It's not a drop, it's a different animal altogether. Where someone who's really battling at core maths, and it's affecting their whole life, their whole school life, and all other 8 subjects, as long as they're a hard worker, are going to cruise at maths lit. And they're going to get that AP score of 80% for maths lit. That counts towards getting into the varsity. They won't need to worry about the 40% score for their AP score that they get for maths, which is a pass, as you've heard. But after school, what does that mean in terms of where they want to go? I'll be in the auditorium, in the LEC. My voice seems like I'm holding. I don't want to stretch it too much. For any questions you want to know, but I'd like to pass the mic over to Ma'am Amy Phillips, who really is passionate about maths literacy.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Yes, we do go shopping. It entails an odd breakfast or so. But in that, I just want to say that maths lit is a very practical subject. It is financial literacy at the end of the day. You don't need maths for everything. Your child does not need maths for absolutely everything that they would like to do. As our previous speaker said, know your child and allow them to make the decisions. If they take maths lit, it is not the end of the world. Yes, if you want to become a medical doctor, if you want to go into the engineering sphere, you do need maths. However, if you would like to deviate from those specialized subjects, so specialized careers, you do not need maths. So maths literacy is a practical application type subject where you work out your tax, for example, where you have practical experience of working out calculations of how you would like to calculate area of the room for how many tiles you need, for example. So it's a very practical type subject. Yes, we went shopping. Yes, the boys needed to calculate the distance from one area to the next. They needed to calculate the area of Menlyn Shopping Centre. They needed to calculate the VAT and the tax and the UIF that was included in their little shopping spree that they did. They needed to be able to read a map. A lot of boys struggle with reading a map, the basic concept. Why? Because we have it on our phones. But they even couldn't follow Google Maps walking with their phones. It still required direction. So those practicalities, the everyday things that is associated with maths lit, things that we don't think about, that we actually use on a daily basis, that is very important. We do offer an 8th subject of maths lit project. That is it's a difficult one because a lot of boys wake up late and decide that if they are not doing well in maths, they will now want to take maths lit project in grade 12. So it becomes hard work because you need to do all the requirements of a maths lit year curriculum in a short space of time. That is the reality of it. And at the end of the day, your boy needs to put in a lot more effort because now he has more subjects to pass. And I want to say that maths lit is a great opportunity. It is not the end of the world. As Mr. Smith said, it's a mind shift for most of us. But the opportunities are there. Everything is still available to your son. It's not a closed book, and it's not the end of the road. Maths lit is a fabulous opportunity for your son, and avenues are definitely open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Phillips and Mr. Smith. Right, that concludes the sort of formal plenary part of tonight. I just have one announcement from Mr. Dunkalt, who is the head of Nap Fisher, House Director. He has said, just please, will you check your app? There is information about the Form 2 hike as well. He said, well, I've got the captive audience. Please, could I notify you that to just have a look about the Form 2 hike, which is happening in the last week of this term. Ladies, gentlemen, young men, there's an opportunity. You can go out. There's more soup, warm up. There's tea and coffee in the LSE as well that you'll find. In fact, I think it's all been carried over to that side of the campus. Go and speak to teachers. Go and speak to the head of departments. Ask questions. Be curious, and have a fabulous night. Thank you very much.